Hello everyone, Smugpug here, and in this video I thought I'd take a crack at talking about what I feel are the need-to-knows of how to play Caustic, aka Gas Daddy, in Apex Legends, if you're a beginner or unfamiliar with playing them. Caustic is probably my favorite character, and I do consider myself to be a Caustic main. His abilities work best for those who enjoy holding down spots and ambushing opponents with traps. And I hope to go over a few tips or best practices so you can get the most out of playing this character. So before we get too ahead of ourselves on how to actually play Caustic, we should go over what his abilities and perks even do. Caustic's abilities revolve around his Nox gas, which initially deals 6 health damage, and this goes up by 1 for each second someone is exposed to the gas, up to a total of 12 health damage per hit. It also obscures vision and prevents you from sprinting. Friendly players are not affected by this slow effect, but their vision will still be obscured. Caustic's passive Nox Vision gives you immunity to these effects, and you also gain a threat detection for enemies moving through it. Just keep in mind other Caustic players will also be immune to the gas. Caustic's tactical are the Nox gas traps, which act sort of like claymores in that they trigger when an enemy gets too close or if they are shot at in the body. You initially start with 3 charges and you can have a total of up to 6 out at one time. They take about 2 seconds to inflate when they hit the ground, and they are on a cooldown of about 25 seconds. They will certainly become your best friend. Shooting the base of a trap will destroy it. It can also be shot out of the air mid-throw, which is very annoying. Watson pylons and crypto EMPs will also destroy traps, so be aware of that. Also, mirage decoys will trigger the traps as well. Caustic's ultimate is a Nox grenade, which can be thrown further than a trap and will also cover a much larger area in gas. It's certainly a great way to initiate team fights. It's important to note that additional instances of gas will only add +1 health damage. And that goes for a Nox grenade as well. This may not seem like a crazy amount of damage, but it does stack up and can really help turn the tides in some engagements. So in an ideal situation, you want to keep people inside your gas as long as possible to get the most effect out of it. So Caustic really is ideal in locations where you can get people close to you but not have them easily get away, such as buildings or tight hallways, things like that. So enough of what he does, let's go over some of those best practices and tips on actually playing Caustic. The very first tip I will say, and this may seem very obvious, but actually use the traps. Do not hoard your charges. A deployed trap actually has the potential to do more for you than a stored trap. Even more than just giving additional damage, a triggered or even destroyed trap will give away that someone is near you, in your building, or even possibly following you, so definitely take advantage of that information. Following that would be trap placement. Using your traps obviously is important, but where you place them is crucial. Because Caustic is a defensive character, you really have to either predict or anticipate the movement of your opponents and place your traps accordingly for them to walk into. Your best bet is to place traps around corners, behind or next to doors, at the end of zip lines, and bushes, behind lifeline care packages, pretty much anywhere where they cannot be immediately spotted and taken out. Try to avoid just throwing your trap smack dab in the middle of the street or in the middle of a room or in the middle of a hallway where you can just shoot it out or even walk around it. It's kind of a waste of a trap. I would say there's a lot to cover just on trap placement. And if you're not currently in a building, then make sure that you are still placing traps behind you as you move around the map, so you can keep tabs on where someone is and what direction they may be coming from. The next bit of advice is make sure you use your traps to guard or block doors appropriately. In most cases, you should be placing your traps beside doors or behind them, but I'd say a big pro for playing Caustic is actually your ability to block single or double doors entirely with your traps, rather than possibly needing to body block in the event of needing to heal. This does have the downside of potentially blocking a doorway completely for your teammates. Do not do this. Do not block your teammates with your traps. Or even worse, lock yourself out of a house by mistake. There are ways around this where you can block doors and still allow people to come in, but it can be a little tricky to get it right sometimes. So I will say do block the doors, but just be considerate of it. Maybe wait for everybody to get in the house first. To add to the topic of blocking things, I recommend using your traps and gas as supportive cover. While shooting the base will remove a trap, the top of it can actually block bullets. Plus, a triggered trap can't be removed, so they can totally work as a sort of makeshift barricade if the situation calls for it. I always make sure to throw down a trap or two to crouch behind if I'm needing to revive. And while the gas may not hide you entirely, it should at least hopefully repel any unwanted visitors. Same goes for using your Nox grenade as cover too. There's no shame in hiding in your gas. And on that topic of hiding in the gas, you can hide your traps in the gas as well. I would definitely recommend that you continue to throw traps in your Nox grenade. While things are not completely hidden in the gas, your traps will be harder to spot. Anyone inside of it, it'll be more difficult for them to take them out. So absolutely take advantage of this. This way you would take advantage of the larger area and increase the duration that people will be exposed to the gas, which is exactly what you want. You want to maximize the amount of time people spend exposed to the gas, thus stacking up extra damage for you. So yeah, those would be my personal tips for anyone getting started on playing Caustic. I do feel he has some untapped supportive use as well. I hope you found this to be helpful, and if you did, consider leaving a like. I may dive a little deeper on some things such as trap placement strategies in the future, as I think there is some more depth there. But other than that, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.